Hello, everybody. It's Bubba Rob. How's it going? Well, as you can tell by the thumbnail, my mind is swirling. It's actually Father's Day today, is the day I'm doing this, and I'm trying my earbuds in to record to see if it works a little bit better, because sometimes it gets noisy, and I don't know. I should really go buy like a DJI mic set with the phone, but I don't know. Well, I'll probably do that this week. But anyways, what I want to talk about today was, I got up this morning. My flipping brain was sure busy today. Kind of spin around. I kind of woke up that way. I had a good sleep. So it was just, I don't know, one of those days things were taking off. I kind of need to nail both my feet down and stop my brain going around in circles. So I got up and I went and did my meditation thing. It didn't really work that well, and take my meds and, head in the car and head down to my Starbucks down here. And, I was having a tea and talking to a gentleman there. His son's pretty high on the Asperger's spectrum scale, and we really had an exceptional chat about being in the moment and being focused. And I was talking to him. I said, I'm really having a rough time with it today. He said, "Are you? What's going on?" And we got into this really deep conversation about breath work and how important it is to reset yourself. And he was telling me about how important it is for him and his wife with his son being the way he is, and the different things that happen and complications, I guess, especially socially, and how they have to homeschool and make adjustments for that, and they both have to work to pay for a living. But I really got to hand it to him. It was good, and ran into Jeff and Darren and a few different people and had a good conversation. And holy cow, I'm gonna go for my walk. But when I was talking to him, he goes, "What do you do when you leave here?" Oh, I said, "I normally just hop in the car and go across the road to the beach, and I do this meditative walk." He starts laughing. Now, pardon the curse here. He says, "Boy, people really must wonder what the fuck you're up to, walking back and forth no more than 50 feet with your headphones on and your sticks." I said, "You know something? You're absolutely correct. You should see some of the looks I've gotten." He goes, "Really?" I said, "Oh, yeah. Yeah," I says, "it's kind of funny. It makes me wonder what's, going through their head, right?" But you know what? It's not important. Yeah, and I told him, I said, I kind of had to overcome that fear. He said, "How did you do it?" I said, "I just thought to myself," I said, "what kind of biker would I be if I really gave a F about what people thought about me?" And it's funny having that conversation. Stopped my brain from swirling, got me a little bit more focused. But, then my son phones me and he's making me breakfast for Father's Day. And so I didn't get my walk in. So, it's kind of funny, but it's funny how something like that kind of snapped me out of it. And it kind of talks to, the reason I'm talking about it is not every day we have can be a good day. It doesn't matter how planned you are on, say, if you meditate or your diet or whatever. Not every day is a good day. The important thing is, or not every moment is a good moment, pardon me. The important thing is recognizing it and what do you do to adjust it, right? That's really key. What do you do to make adjustments? What do you do to come back? You know, I found that, like, wow, I kind of had to do that. So then as I'm going about my day, my sister phones me. Right? Well, she had something going on. I won't get into it. And I said to her, I said, you know, you should never worry about what somebody thinks about you. She said, no. Why not? I said, well, it's kind of simple. Because you don't know what they're thinking. Well, I do know. Oh, no, you don't. How do you know I don't? Well, how could you know? How could you know what somebody is thinking just because you're thinking it? The only thing you know is what you're thinking in your own mind. It's got nothing to do with what's going on in their mind. You have no idea. Unless somebody tells you. How would you know? You don't. So don't worry about it. Comes back to what people might be thinking about me. Doing my meditative walk. Here's this big 300-pound plus guy doing this thing that looks all effed up. What is he doing? Doesn't matter, right? Just doesn't matter whatsoever. Like, what matters is if you're taking care of yourself. What you're doing, we're not here to be judged by others or even to judge ourselves. We're just here to do what's best for ourselves and move on. You can't do it all in one day, right? It just doesn't matter, right? I don't know. I hope this chat isn't too convoluted and it makes sense. But when I woke up, literally everything was just going a mile a minute. I couldn't really, I couldn't focus on my meditation or anything like that. And by me trying to be as present as I could, just by having a conversation snapped me out of it. Right? That's what was important. The important thing is I learned something from it. Important thing is I got to learn to not care what people think of me because I don't know what they think. I just don't. And neither do you. So, the lesson of today is don't worry about it. Who gives a shit? Right? Doesn't matter. Because you don't know what they're thinking. You just don't. Even if somebody tells you something, you don't even really know what they're thinking about. And where is it coming from? Some empty space in their consciousness. They don't even know why they're thinking that way. I have no idea. Anyways, I hope that helps. I hope that helps somebody out there. Remember to be a good person, to be a good stoic. You could be a good biker, carnivore, vegetarian, whatever. Tranny, whatever. Whatever your is. Most important thing is to be kind. You got to be kind to yourself first. Try and change the way you think about yourself. When you think about yourself in a positive manner, positive things will happen. Your karma will change. Better things will come to you and the bad things will disappear. Okay? Hope you all have a great day. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.